So awesome. Look, everybody, it's so much going on. Oh my gosh, here we are. 22 days election, Diddy, world crazy. Like, let's jump into it. So we've got so much content to go over. And this is a huge moment, like all the way around, like the Middle East, the Diddy stuff, the election in the United States. There's so much, and we know that those that rock with us need to know, like, hey, what are some, like, let's help each other. Like, how do we jump into this in a way that that serves your audience? So first of all, let's go, like, first of all, to the video. Let's share. Let's jump in. How you doing, Martin? How you doing, Tenji?
We good.
You good? Good. All
Doing
right.
well, doing well.
There's so much going on. So first of all, Martin, you had shared with us this young man that really felt like he's like, yo, we've been seeing the warning signs like all the way around. So those that are watching with us, let us know what you think. Is this accurate, or did we just miss it? So here it comes right now.
All night we would play fight undercovers. Now you gone, can't love you like I really wanted. Took the whole ride for me. At first we were friends, then became lovers. You was more than my girl, we was like brothers. All night we would play fight undercovers. Now you gone, can't love you like I really wanted.
I'm just saying, like, does he have a point? Is he right? Like, was it, what do you think of that? I'm like, 10, I'm really wondering, like, what you think.
Okay, first of all, it's just, honestly, it's the first time I'm seeing this video. I heard you talk about it, but I never saw it. But I remember that song. I remember people said the little thing. But first, this is the thing. Let's make this clear. Diddy doesn't write his rhymes. Somebody wrote that for him.
Does it matter that he agreed to sing it?
Yeah. Who is this allegedly supposed to be about? I'm confused.
His girl. I think it came out. I want to say it came out during J-Lo period. I think it was on the same album with Miss You. I'm not sure. I let me look it up. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Ten. And I think if you take this video and juxtaposition it next to what he said when him and Kevin Hart and Usher, he uses the word brother a lot in his description of relationships with people. So I don't know.
He's Brotherly Love. Isn't that his name, right? Brotherly Love too. I was one of them.
Oh, that's right, Brother Love, right? That was the deal.
See, okay, hold on. Let me just go real quick, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Aside from all of this was the shenanigans and he's living his life, but he didn't come out. Let's just say allegedly, he's LGBT, he's in that community, right? He should not be facing this charge sitting in the federal prison jail right now without having bond with the level that he's at, that he's never gotten in trouble before. He doesn't have a record. All these allegations, what they have are just allegations right now. And I'm not condoning what he did to Cassie. I'm totally against that, right? That's a different incident. This is not what he's being charged for. He's being charged for trafficking and what's the ring? He's trafficking sex people and all the other things. But he has a conspiracy charge, basically, where he's the only one being charged in it. That doesn't make any sense. This is like they're bringing, they're tarnishing his image. Just the point of when they had the press conferences. Hold on, no. I see you making that face, Sharice. When you have the press conferences, that baby oil bottle and all that stuff should have never went out there, right? What they didn't have, and the problem what I see, and this is where everybody, I understand the media when it comes to shaping the story and creating a narrative. And that's what they've been doing. The narrative is they are linking him to R. Kelly and they are linking him to Jeffrey Epstein's. Wrong. Both of them had minors what they were charged with. He does not have that. If they had any evidence on that, they would have put that in the front. And now you're starting to see all these pictures coming out with him. I just saw one on Instagram earlier with him holding a little kid, little Bobby, and the parents brought him to a pool party. The dad was a photographer, and now the kid is about 28 years old, and he wants to sue. He said, "Yeah, I felt kind of wrong," and this guy was like, kid was like eight years old then. And the parents is pushing them up to sue. So it's in that situation, you're starting to see that. But the media is pushing that narrative because it's working. And people already, they're comparing them as a pedophile and all these things, but they don't even have that type of charge right now. That's all I'm saying.
So here's the question then, all right, that I've got about all of it. If that's the case, right? If it's like that he's not he shouldn't be charged and all those things, then nobody could be charged, like, ever.
Nobody. He has a racketeering charge. Who else has been charged with it?
He's saying that what he's saying is that's the wrong charges. He's not, and he's also saying that the narrative that the government is crafting, along with media, is in cahoots with him. So unlike Cosby or Jeffrey Epstein or what's his name, he's saying that the actual charges don't match the energy and the actual punishment, punishment being no bail. I would disagree that the energy doesn't match. I agree with you that the charges don't match with the height, but part is because he has this other behavior. So I think that my whole thing is that if you live in a glass house, you never throw a rock. So like the judge said with the lady that was doing the election thing, Diddy unfortunately will never change. To me, in my opinion, is he will never change until he goes to prison. Whatever, domestic violence, assaulting people. We know he assaulted people. We know that he admitted that he was part of he didn't physically blow up the car, but he definitely took care of Kid Cudi's car. He admitted that. He admitted that to several people that, yeah, I took care of that. He didn't say I did it. He said, I took care of that. Well, my point is that they're saying that he doesn't warrant bail, not because of the bottles of lotion or oil or whatever. He doesn't warrant bail because of his behavior. And so,
because of what behavior?
The assaults that he's committed, physical assaults, and that he did call. Wait. Let me say
what assaults? Is that Cassidy? You can't bring that into court. You can't. That doesn't have anything to do with that.
That's his past behavior. Yes, you can.
You cannot. Martin. First of all, he settled out.
I
couldn't charge him with that because that was.
I'm not saying charges. That's what I'm saying. We're not talking about. I'm not talking about charges. I'm talking about why he wasn't granted bail, and he called a government witness and harassed her 56 times. That's a charge.
That's valid.
So what I'm saying that he has a past behavior. You can make up a character witness for the bail hearing. We're talking about bail. I'm not talking about trial, just bail. He can't get bail because of his past behaviors.
Not past behavior. That one situation where he talked to the girl, I forget her name. But in the part they don't tell you is they agreed for him to turn himself in that Tuesday. He was turning himself in. That's why he came back to New York. Right? Listen, he came in Monday. He went out. He was seen all around. Went to all the Central Parks, all these places. Talked with the fans. Was out there. He was going to turn himself in. Had his whole family with him. What they did is they went to the hotel and brought him in just to make sure he wouldn't get bond. Because if he would have turned himself in, he would have no longer looked like a flight risk. So they went and locked him up instead, just to make sure to lock that part into the judges. And the reason
this is in New York, right? This is in New York, right?
Yeah. He's in New York.
Yeah.
So okay, I want to jump to the next clip because
okay. I want to see what you had to say, Sharika. I wanted you to respond to what he was saying. You were saying if he's not can't be charged, and nobody can be charged. So I want you to understand that he was just talking about. He wasn't talking about the actions. He was saying the physical layout of what the government's actions were and how they handled him not getting bond. He was talking about that.
Here's the thing. My understanding, and I could, firstly, I could be wrong. My understanding is that they've got just plethora of video evidence, right? So there's that, and that they have a plethora of witness statements, right?
But you're saying
Then,
a plethora of video of what people
Wait,
have.
let her finish.
Yeah, no, I'm asking her a plethora of video of what.
well, I haven't seen the video, but they're saying that they have the video evidence to support the charges. And so when you have this grand jury that decides whether or not someone's charges are warranted, I mean, I understand people say all the time, like, oh, a really good district attorney or whatever could, get some, they can get a charge if they really want it. I've heard that said before.
Ham sandwich. The saying is you can indict a ham sandwich. Anytime they want to indict somebody, they can.
Yes, I've heard that before, but I don't. First of all, I don't think that he's someone that is just like everybody else, right? It's not like we're dealing with someone who isn't a flight risk and all that. I don't think that they would legally. I don't think that they would legally be able to do what they've done and just do it. Like, I don't. It's so, you're dealing with someone with so much power, so much money, like all of that, right? And they say that they have the evidence. They say that they have all of this evidence behind him to charge him. We will see. I don't know if they do or if they don't. But I think it would be good to like, we wanted to talk today about how to handle content like this, right? Like, this is something that's going viral. It's a huge story in the world, and we have content creators that follow us who are into entrepreneurship, who are into politics, who are into mindfulness, who are into holy hip hop, and everyone is like, wow, there's this big thing happening. And I think that it's important for content creators to understand how to speak to something like this in a way that is relevant to their audience. So if you are into politics, then it can kind of be pretty easy to delve into a lot of things because you just come at it from an angle of the law, I think. But Tingy, that's an arena that you know more about as the former Washington bureau chief for TMZ. And Martin, I think it would be cool for your entrepreneurs to hear, and all of those who follow us over at Hip Hop Truth or Holy Hip Hop or for mindfulness or positive content. Obviously, what Diddy is being charged with is not considered positive. My teenagers have started cautioning me to say, Mommy, please don't ever tell anyone that you went. I said something about having gone to one of his public parties, to two of his public parties, not the after party. And they were like, oh my gosh, you could never tell anybody that. Please don't ever tell anyone again. Like, they were like, no. And I was like, well, I will be clear that it was not the after party.
That's the media. See, that's the media. That's when they're putting that, like I say, and I'm going to beat it to a dead beat, right? What happens a lot of times when they shape a story and the narrative is the end result, like right now, anytime you think of baby oil now, they're going to, you're going to see all the memes of Diddy, right? And they're going to constantly push that down our throats and our young kids' throats. So no matter what he does, let me tell you something. This is the thing. Even if he was found innocent, I'm not even going to go into the story of this, right? The shape what he's already portrayed, right? Let's just say he brought it all on himself, right? But just ask yourself, if this was Justin Timberlake, would he still get this? When we think of Justin Timberlake 20 years from now, we're never going to say, oh, he had a drunken driving and they didn't tell you. That story would never come up again. Robert Downey Jr., you will never know he was on crack and he was doing all this stuff. They will never tell you that. But when they push the stories and how they, it'll always come, even when he comes out, let's just say he goes to jail and does 5 years, before they release something and start talking about whatever he's doing, they'll go like this. And this is an article I just read, and this was in one of the political, I forgot what website it was. It wasn't political, I forget which one it was, the Daily Caller. And they were saying something about Diddy changing his lawyer and to the new lawyer. And then they said, how they introduced him, they said the disgraced musical Puff Daddy, Diddy, whatever, he's just switched lawyer, and now he's going, I I guess on the advice of his roommate and the guy who just, I forget his name, the crypto king,
Sam.
Sam something, who just got found guilty for 25 years, has the same lawyer. But here's the thing. When they described Diddy, they said the disgraced musical Sean Diddy Combs. When they described Sam, they just said, this guy has, now think about it, he just got convicted for 25 years. And they just said his name, the Bitcoin, whatever. So they'll start beating that into our heads. And I think it's something that, we let happen all the time, because then we're going to put all the memes and we're going to do all the things to go on.
So here's the deal. And I think this is where I want to circle back to, because I know we have a hard stop, circle back to what content creators can do. And so y'all see how passionate 10G is. I don't share 10G's passion on this subject, but I respect, his right to speak. And I think that's the challenge that we have in this country. I think that's the challenge we have in our content, is to respectfully disagree. And so what does that mean for me? When I hear what 10 is saying, and it's the same thing with Bill Cosby. I was in Philly when this all stuff broke down with Cosby. And I was a producer of a radio show in Philadelphia on a black station. So you can only imagine. And I was in the minority of people that felt what they felt about Bill Cosby. So how did I deal with the content and the constant? And I had to actually take care of our show's social media. I had to do my job, and interact with listeners who felt completely different than I did, which was that Bill Cosby deserved everything he got. But that said, and what comes up a lot when it comes to Black folks is that, hey, we have an injustice system. Our system is not the same. Example for me in general is YouTube. Why always say this? Am I saying the name, the group YouTube? Is that the right name? With Bono?
Yeah, that's YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube.
Then I say people go, huh? I'm like,
it's not like you said YouTube.
Okay, YouTube. The letter U and 2. Bono group. They did 10 concerts, and made 100 million. Black Eyed Peas had to do 100 concerts that same year, and they got close to, I think it was 89 or 92 million. So it's a 10-to-1 system, period. It's always that way. Now, if we want to talk about, changing systems, that's another conversation. But the reality for me is that the system is unjust. I believe that we can have this debate or conversation about the injustice system, but we also can have, and you as a content creator can decide how you want to show up. I choose to show up in the comment section. So I did one video that Therese showed. I did a YouTube short pointing to guys that were talking about the song. That's the only time you'll see any content from me about this topic. However, I am in the comment section, and I just checked my comment. And I got, I think it was 139,000 views to one of my comments about this case. So you as a content creator have to decide, how are you going to show up? Are you going to make content around this topic? If you are, then be ready for opposite views. Read the room. Read the room. Know that there is a lot of people that have gone through the same situation as victims. There's a lot of people that go into the same situation of incarceration. There's a lot, so you can't just step into content and be like, this is my view, boom. It's like, you got to be ready.
Yeah.
You got to be ready. And if you want to get shares, reposts, which we do want, we want our content to live beyond the post, right? Then I believe that as a content, this is my belief, as a content creator, this is how I show up. As a content creator, I'm not going to argue with you back and forth. I'm going to respectfully hear what you have to say. I may ask a question. I don't go back and forth with people and say trolls. I don't think everybody is a troll today. I think people need to be heard. And I think that and my belief is that I need to give them the space to be heard. I don't agree with what they're saying, but I'm still going to be there to allow that conversation to happen. Excuse me. And that means that comment, I'm not deleting somebody's comment. I don't delete a negative comment to what somebody feels or says. And actually I will reply if they, like, one of the persons said something about Diddy, and if somebody replied to me saying that 138,000 view comment said, you were trying to cap for the white girl. It was a meme of a white young woman holding a gun. Well, I clicked on just to be safe, I clicked on the account and I went into their link tree, and it's a young kid who's a brother actually. And I went to his YouTube, saw his videos, and I actually reposted one of his videos because he actually is a pretty good lyricist. So I replied back to that person saying, hey, I did the research, you should do too, to see, am I replying to a white person or am I replying to a black person that has a funny meme on their profile picture? And then people like that comment. But again, it wasn't I didn't go back and forth. I'm not arguing with the person. My point is that I think content creators, if you're going to create content, be mindful of the fact that this is a hot topic for a bunch of different reasons, and don't expect to, to win over people. Don't expect dialogue.
Right. So I agree with that. And I think that it's important to, like, especially if you're like, looking at your own content, you have a brand, you're a marketer, everybody who has a brand or has something to sell, you are a brand. And are you selling in a way that one lines up with what you serve to your audience and what they need? I know for us at hiphoptruth.com and Music Marketing Magazine, like, we always really want in Good Works Lab. And for those that are not rocking with hiphoptruth.com, quick FYI, you can get a lot of free help and support if you go to hiphoptruth.com and click Find Partnerships, and then just join us in the Good Works Lab. We do a bunch of cool creation collabs. Martin has been amazing to jump in and do some collabs. We help people find sponsorships. We got somebody got sponsorship out of our last one with the NFL Hollywood situation. So it was great. Anyway, so go to hiphoptruth.com, click Find Partnerships. We would love to have you visit us. Please love on our advertisers and our sponsors. We love them. But the point is that what we share with them are like, hey, know your numbers, know your metrics, all of that, and know your brand, know what your audience needs. I think that content like this is similar. I think also that we look at things and we can have a knee-jerk reaction. We really rally a lot around faith and mindfulness, and to just say, hey, am I really comparing apples to apples? Black Eyed Peas and U2 just came up, right? So U2 as a group was formed in 1976, okay? Black Eyed Peas was formed in and for those who don't know, I am a child of the music industry. My dad was a drummer for the Isley Brothers. I've been blessed and fortunate to be a Grammy U mentor for nearly half a decade. I love, that's why all of our brands have a lot to do with music.
Speaking of this, you said Grammy U, not just Grammy U, meaning?
Yeah.
Meaning what? So people don't know, they don't know what Grammy U.
Oh, so if you have a student that's in college that's really interested in the music industry, the Recording Academy has an amazing program that they can join their college's Recording Academy chapter, and they could get a mentor from the Recording Academy, someone who was working a professional in music and who works in their area. So that's been really nice. I've been able to invite and share a lot with my past mentees when it comes to music marketing, and to invite them to sit in on things. And it's not inviting you to work. I know a lot of people get it, college students, and want you to work. That's not it. This is not that. It's dope. It's really dope. I think any kid that is in college and is interested in the industry, whatever you're interested in, there's probably a mentor for it within the Grammy U mentor program. So that's that. So I get passionate about this. So I grew up in music, and I see that it takes a lot to have longevity as a group. So like when we look, I know that we're going to get to looking at how people are comparing Diddy to other men, especially white men who have been accused of things in the industry. But because U2 and Black Eyed Peas just came out, I just want to be like, this is a good example of one where people will say, wow, why is it that U2 could do one concert and make all that money and Black Eyed Peas has to do 100 concerts to do it, right? Well, U2 came out in 76. Black Eyed Peas came out in 1995. And then when you look at just, and so it's like, okay, so they're older. That doesn't mean, so what? I just be in the industry forever. Okay, well, U2 has sold 175 million records worldwide. They have 52 million certified units. They rake as the 22nd highest selling music artist. And Black Eyed Peas, they're no punks. You know, they have over 5 number one hit records. They have sold 80 million records.
She said over 5, like they did 5. You know, 52.
I love them. I love will.i.am. If anybody who works with will.i.am, well, I could probably find folks and friends. Yeah. But I love will.i.am. I've been blessed to be in his presence, to hear him talk on things. We really need to hear a lot more from will.i.am. So I like Black Eyed Peas. They are no punks. They are no joke. But yeah, they are one of the best selling musical acts of all time. 80 million records for them, 175 million records worldwide for U2. I mean, and then just all of the philanthropy and all that. So, I mean, I get it. I can see if people were comparing like U2 to maybe like the Isley Brothers or Earth, Wind & Fire, like someone who has, you know, had the same like longevity, or even like a Beyonce. I bet U2 and Beyonce.
Compared to Garth Brooks, who sold over 180 million records in Diddy's situation. Coverage has been a lot. It's been real quiet.
I think the Cassie,
they're not shaking the story.
So let me ask you this, Sinji, right? Because there's things that we see with our own eyes. Do you think Diddy's story would be the same if people had not seen with their own eyes him dragging a woman down the hallway and beating her and throwing things at her?
I agree with you 100%. I'm totally against DV, domestic violence, and you know, this is no room for that. That's aside, right? That's not what he's charged for. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying when it comes to how they're putting that case and how the media is taking it, when that was happening and the way they publicized that, he got everything he should have gotten for that. Like they should have dragged him through the mud, doing all these things, right? 100%. But now this is what they're doing with this case. Now this is totally different. That they wouldn't have. First of all, I'm not going to break down the history, but what everyone should know is a lot of this stems and allegedly from his Ciroc deal with what's the owner of the vodka label, Martin. What are they? Diego. One of the 24th richest company in the world, right? Diddy started out as an influencer, basically, for Ciroc. He didn't own Ciroc. He was an influencer. And when he did the regular bottles, initially they were selling 40,000 cases a year. Within 10 years, Diddy was shipping out 2.6 million cases of Ciroc. They wouldn't do a deal with him with the red, but what they did do is a deal with him is with the Flavor brand. And then he blew that Flavor brand up, and he started making 400 million a year that they would have to pay with him. And then he went and got his own tequila brand. And then he went 50-50 with them. And then he had a lawsuit because they didn't do what they said they was going to do. And then they started doing some other things. And this is where a lot of this stems from. So if you look at the date when he filed that suit to when the Cassie thing came out to when he get arrested, it's no coincidence that all that happens within 2 to 3 months. And the two biggest investors in Diego is BlackRock and Vanguard. Politics, very political, strong, and you know, Diego, bunch of wealth. So when you mix that up and you have someone that's coming in saying these things, that's getting ready to say destroy a brand of like Ciroc and all the other Casamigo and all these other things, and he's getting ready to start saying maybe they're racist or they're not doing this and stuff like that. They silenced him. They silenced him. You know, we're not going to talk about that. And the part of how they're making this into a sex and
So
they,
real quick, Tim, because you got to
years
go. I want to just get to your how are you handling it as a content creator? So this is your belief system.
Okay,
So
right.
how are you showing up in your content to handle that?
Okay, so now for me, and I'm gonna be real quick. I'll give for me and how other people can do it. For me, I'm gonna speak out because I'm gonna do the research, and I'm only gonna speak facts on the stuff that I researched from a journalistic perspective. So I'm gonna say little things that they're not saying. The media is not, they're shaping it a different way. But my content is going to be me saying, hey, did you know he shipped 2.6 million cases for Ciroc within this time? And then he had a difficulty here. That's a piece of content most people, it will make you go, you know. So now that's how I'm going to make content. And I'm going to make long form content instead of short form, because I can get to tell a story about it.
So real quick, based on that, what happened? How do you handle all the pushback? So when you take a position, so your content is you taking a position, and you're also taking a position of knowledge that people
I'm not taking a position on it. I'm not taking a position on it.
I'm taking a position of saying
awareness.
I'm saying that's a position, but that's not, you know, doing that. That's a certain side, not side, but that's a certain stakeholder position. In other words, your stakeholder in your position you're taking in the conversation is that I'm going to talk about facts that's not being talked about. And so what happens when people do that, when they take that route, maybe it's not a position, they take that route to content, they get a pushback. My question is for you is like, for other content creators, what do you do when you get the pushback? Like, we see that.
You bring more facts,
okay,
to support it. And the thing about it, right? I guess my duty is just to enlighten people who I think, and I don't want to sway anybody's opinion, because I just want them to be aware of what they're saying. Because what happens is, and I have kids in the family that already, Dad, you better not go to a Diddy party and all the stuff that you're saying, Sharice. You know, I'm hearing it too, because what it's doing is, it's putting that in their head, and just not kids, it's adults too. Adults don't know part of it. They hear one part of a side, and they're already like I said earlier, when even from the part of what's his two main charges, Martin, his two main charges, racketeering and sex trafficking.
Right.
And I had this discussion with Martin yesterday. I said, show me a racketeering case where there's only one person gets locked up and they don't do it as a sweep. You never see that. Anytime there's normally 98%, 99% of the time when it's a racketeering charge, they're bringing in 10 and 20 people or whatever. And this situation is one. Go ahead.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that they won't bring in more people. That doesn't mean that more people won't. It doesn't mean that they don't have.
What I'm saying. Sharice, what I'm saying is, when they lock up the people, they all do it together. They don't bring them in 10 months later. They do when a racketeering charge, when they bring in John Gotti and all these people, especially they're making him seem he's a drug dealer, he's a gun holder. Also, they bring in all these people together. That's what they do. Not him, and then people lock people up 10 months later.
So let me be really intentional. So for us at Expansion Media and Hip Hop Truth and Music Marketing Magazine, one, we would use this kind of content as a cautionary tale to say, one, like, what are you doing things in your business that you wouldn't want to be literally on the national news? And if not, then like change that situation, right? Second, we really lean into following Christ. We are serious, but not even lean. That's our foundation. That's the beginning and our end, period. And so, of course, we would want people to pray for everybody involved and to try to keep ourselves grounded in saying, hey, we're not the judge and jury on this man or any other man. In fact, anybody who is out here doing wrong to other people, then we hope that that it's not just them that is stopped from hurting other people, but everyone. And I understand that there's an equality concern, like is he being treated differently? But we saw that what happened when the Cassie lawsuit came out the first time, people didn't believe her, right? So I don't think that he's being treated so much differently just on the basis of his color, his skin color. I think that video of him literally dragging her down and people being outraged, I think that was a turning of the tide for him in the arena of public opinion. But for us at Hip Hop Truth and Expansion Media, and really do hope people come rock with us in the partnerships. Go to hiphoptruth.com and click partnerships. We will help you, give you a lot of free support. But our reminder to people is like, let's use this as a reminder to keep ourselves together and to do the best that we can. And that more is going to come. I mean, they keep saying that they've got all this stuff that isn't there. And to try to make us to be a reminder to our followers and to those who rock with us to like clean up our own house so that we don't find ourselves on the front page doing something crazy and having to say that we weren't being ourselves. Well, if you weren't being yourself, who were you being? You know, did you think that literally, like, because we do rock on the spiritual side over for us, did you think you were possessed? Did you think that something else was going on? What? Who were you being? You don't have to, if you stay cleaned up, then you don't have to get in that situation. And I don't think that he's the only one. We've all been to industry parties. A lot of people didn't believe this because they've been to a party.
No, I have never been to an industry party.
Are you for real, Martin?
I've been to listening party. No, I was not. I was like, because I was press and I was known press, and I would wear the "I Love Black Women" T-shirt. Nobody invited me to a private industry party. They would invite me to an album release listening party in a studio. And then once that listening party, you gotta go. You gotta get out of it. Like nobody's trying to hang around. So I was never invited. This would be clear. I've never been to an industry party.
Okay. Well, crazy things can happen at industry parties, but usually you don't have to be in it. You can leave early or you can opt out. You can say, hey, we're not going in that room. We're going to be out on the patio, talking and negotiating a deal. Like, but this is not what people saying that they experienced with him. So, yeah. But I know we're pretty much at the limit. We've used a lot of content from Spidey. I don't think that we can legally keep streaming this. Share him and give him a shout out. So I'm going to just show some of this video real quick. And basically, Spidey is a behavioral analysis person. I would highly recommend people check out his channel. He posts a lot of really insightful videos to help people understand or think about what might have been going on behind just behind just the verbal and just what the story was. He helps really people think about, looking at the body language. And Tenji, I was really, really wanting to hear what you say. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this because we've shown so much and we have to give him a shot.
As adults and people have been in relationships, we know sometimes those relationships get ugly, and sometimes it doesn't come out into the forefront.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Behavioral Arts. My name is Spidey, and I use my degree in sociology and psychology, my certifications in criminal interrogation and body language analysis, and over 10 years' experience as an award-winning mentalist to teach people behavioral analysis and practical psychology on stages and television shows all over the world. The walls appear to be closing in on Diddy. After several civil lawsuits in the last couple of months, a video leak of him displaying some horrifying behavior, and reports of a federal investigation planning to bring accusers in front of a grand jury, it seems like the past of the music mogul is finally catching up to him. Last week on this channel, we covered his apology following the video that leaked of him and his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, and the feedback was very positive. A lot of commenters had some really interesting things to say, and in the conversations that we were having, there were two other videos that came up that some of the viewers asked me to talk about as well. Now, both these videos are from his past, before any of this came out, but they exhibit certain red flags, both in what he's saying and in his body language. And I always had them on my list to cover them but I never found the right time. But now, as a follow-up to last week's video, I think the timing is perfect. The first video is an interview that Diddy had done with Ellen shortly after the world found out that Chris.
So I'm gonna jump to
was
that.
working with
I'm not
Diddy
gonna
and
like listen to the
I
whole
use
thing.
Twitter, and that's something else. I'm just
Okay.
saying I wouldn't really Twitter about that.
Okay, let's not Twitter about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Sure.
Being at your place in Miami,
Mhm.
and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back
Yeah.
together. Now, you want to talk about that?
See, I wouldn't use my Twitter to talk about that because that's somebody else's business.
I know, but
You know,
you
but-
gave
but-
them your house.
Yeah. But we're talking about Twitter.
Yeah.
How you use Twitter, and that's something else. I'm just
Okay.
saying I wouldn't really Twitter about
Okay,
that.
let's not Twitter about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Sure. Let's talk about it
Sure,
because I think you clearly have a lot of people going, why would you do that? Why would you give Chris, a guy who hit a girl and he's jet skiing around in your, I don't understand. Because, I mean, listen, I
Yeah.
was a huge fan of Chris's. I love Chris, his music. He's a talented guy. But to hit a girl.
Yeah, because I know both of them, and it's my house, and I'm allowed to give my house to whoever I want to give my house
Sure.
to. That's number one. Number two is that I'm the type of person that I don't cast a stone or cast a judgment on anybody.
All right, so I'm gonna
So
jump
a friend or friends.
here.
Or surprise, when something surprises us. In essence, all over the world, the eyebrows give importance to something, whether it's a topic, a person, or an event. But in Diddy's case, historically, his eyebrows move very, very little. He has entire interviews where they barely move. The apology video that we looked at last week, they barely moved. And we could speculate as to why they don't move, a very common guess being certain cosmetic procedures. But the important thing when we're baselining isn't necessarily why, but just to note that they don't move. However, in this interaction with Ellen, it's different. There are several moments where we do see a big eyebrow flash. One of the first ones we see is so big that even with only see the eyebrows go up, but we see the eyes open up as well. And it's when she's talking about
You froze?
It's Twitter, and that's something else. I'm just
Okay.
saying I wouldn't really Twitter about
Okay,
that.
let's not Twitter about it.
I think this is a really interesting moment for those eyebrows to go up. And I think there are two reasons it's happening. The first one is emphasis, because he's shifting the attention, right? She's trying to talk about one thing, and he's going, I wouldn't Twitter about that. And his sentence drops at the end. Like, that's it. That's all I have to say about this whole topic is that I wouldn't Twitter about that. That's what's important here. Not the Chris Brown thing, the Twitter thing. The second reason I think it's happening, combined with that emphasis, is a reason that's kind of hidden in the three that we often talk about, right? Because we say emphasis, social connection, or surprise. But in social connection, it's not just positive. Like, we do see it in greetings, the eyebrow flash a lot, but also think of a parent when their kid is doing something they shouldn't be doing, and the parent just looks at the kid like this. So it's still a social greeting, it's still an acknowledgement, but it's not necessarily a hello, it's like, I'm watching you. It's disciplinary. I think that's definitely a big part of what that eyebrow flash is. In that moment, as he's saying, I wouldn't Twitter about that, not only is he emphasizing, but there's also a disciplinary element to that statement. But it's also just completely sidetracking the question, right? Because she's asking, why is that something that you did? People want to know. And he's saying, well, I wouldn't Twitter about that. And that's it. That's everything he's saying about that. And that's a non-answer statement. In interviews and interrogations.
Of course, though, but isn't it? He doesn't want to talk about that. Yeah, he doesn't want to talk about their relationship on Twitter or on her shows. And he's probably saying, "Why the hell are you even asking me this?" Of course, it's certain things. You can't go and get an interview with Robert Downey Jr. and ask him. So when you were on crack, before, he's gonna be what? End this thing right now. His eyebrows are gonna go up.
He wasn't in trouble, but this was before anybody was accusing him in the way that they are now.
He was living that way. So
he's living that way. But but also, Maureen, and I don't know exactly when it said. This could be a couple months after it happened, and it could be one of those situations. And I'm not defending him. I'm just saying it from how when you do interviews. Where it's like I'm trying to think of something that's negative that's happening around. It's like right now, if you went and you had a music interview and Mary J. Blige have her album come out, and then all of a sudden you brought up to Mary, the Diddy situation, and you were there for some of the stuff, and she's gonna be like, "Oh my God, this is off the rack. We're not supposed to be even talking about that."
No, but her eyes, she's gonna go like this.
Yeah, our eyes is going.
This would have been like February 2009. That's when the whole Chris Brown, or maybe even March, April, but this has been 2009.
He's like you said, he's trying not to talk about that. Yeah, he's trying not to talk about it. He doesn't want to discuss that. You don't discuss somebody else. That's y'all know how that go.
But now, for the content creation, but keeping, because like we could go around and around. The content creation side, what was your point in showing us this, Therese?
So one, I think that it's a great. I would highly encourage people to check out Spidey's channel. I don't know him. We're not like connected, but I think that he does this not just for this video, but he does a lot of information on how your body language is communicating. So I think for content creators, that one, it's good to just know how are you communicating from a body language standpoint. When I was leading 1/3 of shopper marketing innovation for the Coca-Cola company, we had to do a ton of presentations and really, at a high level to CEOs of name brand international companies. And there was a lot of emphasis on, how we are showing up, not just with the information that we're bringing, but also our stance, our body language, even how we would sit, where we would sit in the room to make sure that we are extending, like partnership. And additionally, I think he's a great example of someone where you might say, oh, well, you're a behavioral therapist. You do behavioral therapy. Why would you be talking about a music mogul who has a case? He's done an amazing job of taking what he does professionally and tapping into story after story after story in a way that is relevant to his background, to his realm of expertise. That's not the only thing he talks about. He will go on and do, how to know if, people really like your presents for Christmas and stuff like that. But he does tap into viral content. And I just think he's an excellent example of someone that has found a way to tap into content that's or topics or news stories that are viral, but in a way that's absolutely spot on for what people are following him for.
I think at this point, anybody could jump into this. If you're a weatherman right now, you could be like, man, it's outside, it's rainy today. I know how Diddy feels.
Please don't do that, y'all. Don't do that. Don't allow Tenji that. No, a lot of people have done it, but please, I don't want my people doing that. Like that.
We can talk about the weather on the day he got picked up.
Yeah.
Well, this is
it's sunny.
No, that was.
Listen, did y'all, speaking of that, and viral, did you see the weatherman that went into the hurricane, Helena?
Mm-mm.
So this guy did a fake weatherman, but it went viral. People thought it was real. And he did it like he was talking about his divorce. And he talked about Helena. So people started trying to find the weather station because they wanted to find a man and be like, yo, that was spot on. It was a content creator who did a viral video with a real weather thing at the bottom scrolling, but it was him behind a green screen, just talking about his divorce like it was Helena. So and he named his ex-wife's parents in it and where they lived in Florida, So it was now this to Therese's point and to Tenji's point, using real references helps fake, or we'll say parody, not fake, parody content feel more authentic. So you need to come from an authentic place. And Tenji is saying sprinkle some, authentic, real-time storyline into your content. That can work for certain people. I think so other people that may not, it just may seem like they're pandering to the algorithm. What I was going to say is that this guy's content, Spidey's content, it's good to do a rebuttal or like what Tenji was talking about. That can help your content grow. So you can use a Spidey or expert like that, a subject matter expert that you may not agree with. You could half the screen, do a duet to half the screen, let them say what they're going to say, and then you say what you're saying back to them. And you could get 100,000, 1 million views off of Spidey's content. You were just doing a 2-minute, and shout out to YouTube for now increasing
Martin broke up.
Oh, sorry.
But while Martin's broke
You bro, I can see Martin.
Okay.
You frozen, Sheree.
Yeah, you're
What's going on?
No.
But to shout out to YouTube because they have they now have 3-minute shorts. So you now can do shorts for 3 minutes, and that will be enough time for you to really let Spidey say what he said, duet to Spidey, and then now you got this maybe viral content, and it has your authentic statement, but it also is using Spidey's content.
And not only that, and you taking his audience too. He got 1.6 million viewers, so you hack into his audience too. You borrow his audience for some views right now. So it's definitely a good time, and I don't fall even for like comedians or people that just trying to get a reaction and they doing all these videos. It's great content to do it on because it's things people are talking about right now. But I just don't want us to lose focus. When I'm saying it about the content part and versus the real life media, what they put into our head, that's just something where I see the difference on, and I think we're going to get, we're going to come to a point where not just for content, but to let people know, someone's, what they did and what they didn't do versus we don't know what Trump did, right? We didn't get into the courts, right? But depending what station you listen to when you watched, you hear different versions of all these different cases. But the bottom line, he's not in jail, right? And that's all you would know at the end of the day. So these kids, they'll never know when it's like history is told. They'll never know that Trump was in prison or Trump went to jail or he was arrested, stuff like that. Because that's not going to keep going. So that's all.
I think they'll know, but I also think it's kind of like the whole thing that the victor, the hunter gets to tell the tale. It's not the lion that he hunted. And I also think it's important to remember your personal sphere. There's this thing going viral for Tashina Arnold saying that, she feels like that Black men get pounced on, but that when it comes to other races, that they're not held accountable. Well, she also is famous, and she, has been in Hollywood for decades. So I don't know how much her personal view of the world is affecting what she's seeing, because she might not see people in her personal sphere, not doing deals with white people, and she might not see them being blackballed the way that any of us would even know that that's a thing. But on the national sphere, a lot of the things, like if you ask a white person who this not A-list but B-list rapper is, that a lot of
Jaguar Wright, if they asked him before the Piers Morgan interview, they would never know who Jaguar Wright was.
and vice versa. A lot of Jaguar Wright's fans probably don't necessarily know who Piers Morgan is. And so, people are going to get vilified because the people who loved them and supported them feel betrayed. So when Harvey Weinstein, I didn't really know that much about Harvey Weinstein, and I've been around entertainment my entire life. So, but people who are into his thing and into him and have supported him and were fans of him, then they had a big reaction and felt betrayed. But a lot of Black people may not have even known who he was to care. But people love R. Kelly. They've supported him. They've bought his tickets. They've downloaded his songs. The same thing for Diddy. I think a lot of it, I absolutely know that there is systemic. Yes, there is racism. This country has a horrible, evil history with racism. Absolutely. And we also need to understand, when is it something that's okay, well, these people just aren't into that, and these people aren't into that. We definitely need to fix the racism in this country. Absolutely. But whether this was a story about race, whether this was a story about something else, I think it's important to know, okay, so here's your point of view. But the world that Tashina Arnold lives in is not the world that most of her followers and fans live in every day. And so the stories that she's talking about, they might not even be aware of. The white people or other racist stories that she's like, why weren't they vilified? People who love Everybody Hates Chris.
I don't know who Garth Brooks. I don't follow Garth Brooks. I only find out because 10. But here's the thing: 10 did tell me about it. So the difference to me with the Tanisha Arnold stuff is that they don't have a 10G in their life. Like they don't have a person that's saying, "Hey, Martin, you might want to check this out." A ton of people come to me and say, "Hey, Martin, did you see so and so?" And I'm like, I don't see everything, so I'm like,
but
wow.
this is what she's trying to get across, and I think you're both kind of missing it from her angle, right? What she's trying to get across is when that happens to Garth Brooks, you're not going to see all the posting on all that stuff from his people. But when that happens to one of our people that we love, musicians, actors, famous person, we're gonna pounce on them. They're not going to do that on their side. That's the thing.
You know why? That's a good point.
They're not going to make you aware.
You know why?
Why?
Because we love hard. They don't. That's
Okay.
all I'm saying. So,
Well, who does it hurt? It hurts all people. That's all.
we don't have the heroes. We don't have, so that it hurts us more. That's why I'm saying it's in the reverse of the Black Eyed Peas versus YouTube.
Yeah, but you got to remember too what also plays into it, and this is what I keep trying to drum in. The media plays a part in that part as well. What they're going to showcase on TV. If I look on, and I can look on tons of websites, even TMZ I looked at today earlier, and they might have had 15. They had 20 Diddy stories and 2 Garth Brooks stories. So it just, and the shows, and guess what? The picture they had at Garth Brooks, one of them, you know what the photo was? Him holding his wife's hand walking. The image, so it's a big difference, man.
So I agree. The imagery now, if you look at it and you see that the imagery is a vastly different, then that's different. That's controllable, and that wouldn't be cool.
Right, and that's a big difference.
So what's your I think we should jump into our key takeaways for folks with I'll concede that for sure. Like that the imagery, we have a huge problem with imagery overall for people of color in this country. That's why the images you won't see on TV, that Instagram channel is so important. Positive Black images you won't see on TV. Hip Hop Truth, we are passionate about needing to see more positive and uplifting images of color, out there, because it isn't balanced. That the imagery has never been balanced. Even like the whole, I forgot the guy. We see right now with them pushing the Haitian story and trying to like vilify people with no case, no charges, no indictment, nothing anywhere, and vilify an entire race, which is like insane, and then vilify an entire country and vilify people who likely, everyone I've heard, they say they came here to work and to work hard. And I have Haitian friends that have families and all that they're like, that their relatives came here to work hard.
Look at the image. Look at the image where he got sued and he got thing for.
Hold it real close to the camera. Hold it real close so we can see it really close.
Hand in hand, showing him and his wife together.
So they're saying the days before, but the story is about him and her. It's the story about him and her being so lovey-dovey before this rape lawsuit.
Right. But see, that image alone, it shows a loving family, him holding his wife's hand and walking and stuff like that. Whereas a headline or something like that, when they want to vilify another person, it's going to be you looking crazy, or, they put the pictures to match the story they want to highlight, basically. With how they want to.
We have to be even with the imagery. We do like that. That's yeah. It has to be. It has to be.
Somebody's take on that now. As soon as the first time they read that, and everybody, your eyes go to photos as you're reading because you're skimping. So it's just like, oh, he's married, he's with his wife. Somebody's accusing him, but that can't be right. Days before, he was just with his wife, holding hands, and they're such a loving couple, and so all that plays in. It's the same thing. Like soon as something happens, the first good image you want to see is somebody outside walking their dog, because it makes them seem homely, wholesome, and stuff like that. That's all little tricks and stuff that they put out there, and the people don't know.
What do you think, Martin? On the image front.
Your mic
Yeah,
off.
yeah, Mike's up for a reason. But I think that sometimes you have that, but I think that it's a larger issue what we're talking about. To me, with all three men that we're talking about are black, R. Kelly, Cosby, and Diddy. It's bigger than, like, I hear what you're saying, Tim, and it's almost like go back to what's the guy, Rock Hudson. It's that era of you can block out the negativity and you can keep Rock Hudson's LGBTQ status under wraps. But you got the thing for me is, but here's the thing for me in general is it's power. And so, but here's the other side of the power thing is that all three of these men, for me, are horrible, despicable individuals. That's my personal belief. That's nothing to do with evidence or what have you. So if I have that belief, I don't care what 10G says. I don't care what TMZ says. I have my belief. And this is where it gets really interesting with a society that we have freedom in. Is like, I'm free to believe how I feel. The media isn't making Martin believe that Bill Cosby's bad. What I believe that he did is bad. And then he said, this is the other thing that I don't understand with black people. People say stuff years before, and I already hated him years before because he said the poor blacks were bringing rap down. So I already have a dislike of him. It's not the media effect. He verbally said it. Like he said it at the Kennedy Center. He didn't say it, in some hush hush. And then, I'm just gonna go with another person that said they want to cut off our former president's genitals. He said that on camera. Like, so I have a distrust of that person because they verbally said, nobody else cued them to say it. Nobody lied on them. They did it. So people like me who have that angle, we may only be 10% or 20% of the population. But guess what? We're verbal. And we're 50 now. And we, 10G, we impact how other people think. The media, yes, does its little part. But a lot of the people you're talking about that didn't get a fair, the kid that gets arrested and he doesn't have a lawyer and gets bail, he doesn't get bail and all that stuff. When we hear that story, that's a different scenario. But when a person had power and they chose to do X, Y, and Z on their power, that's all I would say. So I think the energy matches their I think it's matches. I don't see the what do you call it? Innocent until proven guilty scenario. I see the guilty and prove that they're innocent because they did stuff already. It wasn't a situation where, they were just walking down the street, minding their business. So we bring the same energy. I think that we don't give ourselves credit for bringing the Sandra Bland or Brittany, the sister that was killed in her bed. We bring that same energy to the right situation, but we bring that same energy to the wrong situation too. So it's not an injustice. What Miss Arnold said is false. It's a false equivalency because we do show up when someone's choked to death in front of us in our eyes. We show the F up and we show out. But when someone who had privilege and power and they do something stupid on their own, not because they were forced to, they weren't duped into it. They literally believe that they were right in saying this thing. We come with the same energy.
Okay.
Yeah, people were Breonna Taylor, that people were beyond outdone, but that's what I'm saying. I think it gets into where people reacting from, where are they living in their life every day, right? And a lot of people know and love some black people know and love somebody living a life somewhat similar to Breonna Taylor. We all have cousins that are law-abiding citizens that work, like a job's not that different than hers. And it's like, that could have been her, your loved one. And again, if you don't know if you don't care who Garth Brooks is, you don't have any interest in him from a consumer standpoint.
Now that I know it, I'm going to bring the same energy to Garth Brooks, though. That's the other thing too. I'm going to be talking about this case for I think that there's a 10G in my life that says, "Yo, Negro, bring that same energy over here. You got energy over there." I'm like, yeah, okay.
that's part of why Harvey Weinstein thing went the way it did, because it did get known about a lot, like, you know, near COVID, and everybody was like, yo. So when people found out the stuff about him, they were outraged. They weren't like, oh, he's good, he's okay, give him a pass.
The game, he did, it got overturned, right?
But people were still outraged.
It got overturned.
But what you're saying is that the government. So I think one of the things that's difficult is that we're having a multi-layered conversation in a simplistic circle. So the government response is one, the media response is another one, and the community response is another one. And yes, they do intercede, but being honest, our community, we don't impact the government's decision to go against things. That's power and privilege. However, we can embarrass the government enough that they have to do something. But think about how many times those judges, those what do you call it, the rich guys, they got off, on some horrible rape or anything else, and the community, it wasn't black community, the white community outvoted that judge next time he came up for a judgeship. They let the rich kid walk. Those judges went out, but we helped push the story up about, look, it's two different justice departments, or it's two different justice systems. So I think that sometimes we beat ourselves up for not doing enough, and other times we're not realistic about what we can do. Like so it's like, come on, can black people can we catch a break? Who
is her tweet talking to? Is her tweet talking to the government?
That was a media person that, and so I think to Tenji's ultimate point is people are making money off of this situation, and look at all the different pieces to understand before you just go and grab a position, right? I already had my position before any media. So the person that posted that was a media outlet, online outlet. So she didn't verbally go to Twitter and say, look at this. Now there have been others that have, though, and we've seen them, YouTube and Instagram, who said stuff for Cosby, Diddy, and the reaction was immediate, the opposite.
Yeah, she said it on the Real Mike Media. So, or that's who put it out. They put out her quote, and then the other guy tweeted it again later. But Harvey Weinstein, my understanding is that he is still in jail, and that they're trying to extradite him to Los Angeles to try to charge him with something else. So it's not like anyone is going, well, that's okay. No,
they just do it a different way. It's just like you get we get you out of this. Don't worry about it. Just stay in here for a little bit, and then they'll forget about it because nobody's tweeting and nobody's putting out content about it, and it's gonna go away. And then we just slide you through like you didn't know they overturned it, did you? You didn't know. You didn't hear about it.
Well, I had heard that. I did hear it was overturned, but I also thought that he was in jail.
Yeah, I heard that immediately. They were outraged.
That was a big news. That was a big news story. It was big news.
But see, the difference is you're both of you aren't the average. You're not the 100%. You're the 2%, 1%. Not gonna understand that part. But the average person, it's going right behind. They don't know anything about it.
So I think that's a good tip for content creators, right? Like, it's a big deal. I think we keep coming up. So y'all like thank y'all for watching the show and watching it this far in. It's so important to know your audience, to know where your audience is at, and what amount of information they likely have access to about a story when it comes out, so that when you, as your brand and who you are, go and try to serve them, you're serving them in a way that is relevant to the amount of information that they have about that story. You're not trying to talk to them in a way that they would really need to have information as an insider, or they would need to have information as a corporate executive, or information as a lawmaker might have. For your audience, if you're serving them about a story that's viral, such as this Diddy situation, or anything else that's going on in the world, it's really important to know your audience and to consider what amount of information that they likely already have access to, and how is your brand going to be relevant to what you're going to say.
Can I add one thing? And I'm not just wanted to remind y'all. Remember Johnny Depp? Remember that case?
Yeah.
Remember all the evidence that came up? Remember she went to the hospital for the black eye and all that stuff? You don't, right? You don't remember she had a black eye and she had all that stuff, right? Okay. Just want y'all to remember. Nothing's happening to him. He gets big endorsement deals now.
So do you think that if his story had unfolded the exact same way that Diddy's has unfolded, that he would be still well received and well welcomed by the world? With the video and everything, the video of the beating.
I guess my main, what I'm not trying to, okay, so you didn't catch on what I was saying then.
That's what I'm trying to understand. Are you trying to say it's not fair? Are you trying to say,
I mean, the video that got shown to the world, not the evidence that we haven't seen, but the thing that we all saw with our eyes.
The overall narrative of this is power from the big liquor company. This is when you
screw over a sponsor. When you screw over a sponsor, you get screwed over.
Yeah, I don't care how big you are.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
You're never big as you're not big as people who have influence and power and money all together.
So no matter how evil your crime is, if you don't screw over the sponsor, then you're okay.
Yeah.
And so what? Yeah. So the challenge to that is that that's not fair, and that's not what people. That's not the world people want to live in. So that's the thing. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're saying it's a reality, and I'm trying to explain to you that while it may be a reality, the reason you're not seeing people, that's not something they want to focus on. They don't want to focus on the fact that there are puppeteers who are pulling strings that affect all of us.
Yeah.
So that's the reality, and that's the situation.
I'll just say it like this. I'll say it like this. Like I'm not condoning anything that Diddy has done, right? Which is, like I said, that domestic violence. There's no place for that. I got daughters. I got granddaughters. It's nothing with that. What I'm just saying is, if he didn't mess with those powerful people and put that lawsuit out and do all that stuff, we would not be seeing this right now at the level that we're seeing this at with him. That's all.
And I agree on that. That I agree on. So, but the challenge is that it doesn't change the fact that he did what he did. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's the challenge. The challenge is that yes, we wouldn't see it, but he still would be the same. You know, he would still have the same predictions, the same issues. I mean, even we don't something we don't talk about that I find ridiculous. Because I know I could not show up at UCLA, take a kettlebell, and hit a white man in the head with it. I couldn't do that. There's no way that Martin Pratt could go, not just UCLA, I can go to Georgia State. I couldn't I'm sorry, cursing. I couldn't go to, community college and do that to a basketball coach. But Diddy did it. And immediately, to your point, Ted, immediately 2 football coaches came out and said, he was a little angry. Forgive him. Mm-hmm. His son is on lacrosse, but he really plays for us. So, and then what did LA County do? They immediately changed from assault to a misdemeanor, and he paid $450,000 to the lacrosse coach. If you see the lacrosse coach, he looks like Jason Statham. Like the lacrosse coach could have really done some damage to Diddy. So he had to, quote unquote, so it wasn't a fair fight, we'll say, right? So there's a lot about that case, that one case.
But here's the thing you're even talking about there, Mark. Most people don't even know about that case because they didn't publicize that.
They did. It went viral for a week. It went for
right, for a week, right? That's how they do it. Yeah. It comes as a blur, and you think it, and if you don't remember.
No, Tim. Immediately. No, when I say immediately, the next day, Tim. You and I could not get our charges dropped.
Right.
They dropped his charges. The government, the people you're talking about, the LA County Prosecutor's Office issued a statement. We're not charging Mr. Combs with assault. It's a class whatever misdemeanor. He's going to pay a fine. Bro, that's not fair.
Yep.
So that's strange.
We have to remember how he was treated before the Cassie video came out. It was not anywhere near like it is now. There was a case, there was a lawsuit, there was all of that. And even though he settled the next day, and a handful of people were like, "Yo, that looks kind that looks like guilty behavior, it went away, and it would have gone away. Like it was not anywhere near what it is. I mean, we're similar effect with George Floyd. People,
bros came in. I said until the powerful bros came in.
People seeing somebody dehumanize another human being in front of them, or being confronted with nearly irrefutable evidence that has been a consistent situation, is, I mean, that's a game changer, and it should be a game changer. It should be.
Sharice, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go because we gotta end this. Just think about this. I really want you to think about this. The feds, they had that tape. They've been had that tape, right? Who do you think gave it to CNN?
I hear all of that, and hip hop truth and extension. Like, I have my thoughts and my questions, but what is irrefutable? Because what I do know happened is that he was treated one way before that tape came out by the entire public space. As a black man, as a rich black man, he was treated one way before that videotape came out. Whether they had it or not had it, the way he was treated changed after people saw with their own eyes him dragging a woman down the street. And I think we owe it to women to have the red flags up here. That's up for if you are in an unhealthy situation, or if you're in an unhealthy relationship. Those are the red flags to look for. As we continue to close out, the National Domestic Abuse Hotline will be up as well. If you need help, please pause the video there and get it. But go ahead, Tenji.
No, you're right. No, I agree with you.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't know where the tape came from. I'm not, but what I do know is that he was treated.
I'm happy the tape came out. I don't care where it came from. See, that's the other part of this. There's another part of our community that I want to know the truth. Just like I want to know the truth about who in the Justice Department is pulling strings. I want to know the truth about who LA County Prosecutor's Office pulls strings for him. I want to know if we're going to do an equal society, we're going to do equal society for everybody. We're not going to do equal society just for black power people and not black poor people.
Why can't we get the tapes of Trump stuff that comes out and stuff? You know, they don't want him in office, so they don't do things. We don't get that.
But when you say we, you say,
you say people, the people.
Well, we do know they exist. So
yeah, if there are more
Omarosa's the only one. Nobody reports on Omarosa says there's tapes. She said there's 2 tapes.
Yeah. If there are more tapes of people dehumanizing other human beings of any color, then please, and on either side, like we need it. Like that needs to stop. It needs to stop being protected. It's evil. It's evil, and it's not okay. Not from a white man, from a black man, a Puerto Rican man, from any or a woman. It's not okay.
Like Ellen, thank God that people know about Ellen.
All right, y'all. We gotta wrap it up.
Thanks for rocking with us, y'all. We see y'all. Talk with us next time.